Yeah, I made sure. I made sure.
Oh my days! I need to actually brush my beard, Jack. Let me quickly brush my beard.
Dude, we're live. We're doing it live.
Listen, even if welcome, guys.
Yeah,
I gotta take
welcome.
care of myself. Gotta take care of myself. Gotta make sure these guys know
This
what I
is all. This is all stuff James could have done about an hour ago, but at least
Listen, I'm
we're
telling
serious.
you, but at least you guys get to see how I do stuff around here. But yeah, okay, welcome to Box Football, and we're here for deadline day. I'm going to talk about all the transfers that have gone on through this deadline day, transfers that have gone on a few weeks ago. Whatever you guys want to bring up, bring it up right now. Hopefully, by the hour, 2 hours that we are live, that we get to see one or two, maybe one big signing that like comes shooting in it like in the next few minutes. Maybe Hassan Mamar finally gets his move to Arsenal. Maybe Man United might get Saul, whatever. Something could possibly happen. But guys, if you are in right now, please comment down in the comment section. Let us know what's going on. If you are new and you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button because we definitely need that. Just guys, just give us a comment. Just let us know that you are in the house. But Jack, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So many stuff going on right now. What big transfer so far in transfer deadline that's really caught your eye so far?
The Saul Niguez one. I mean, obviously, according to reports, what's up, Bryson? James trying to not look like the mess Arsenal are right now. Start the stream.
Oh my days, Bryson, that's a killer. I'll give you that one right there. I'll give you that one.
We're a Sly as well. What's up, man?
Welcome, big man. Welcome.
Yeah, like the Saul Niguez one, I just think is fascinating. Because you look at that Chelsea team with the names they've brought in this summer, which aren't many, but I think you look at the quality. Yeah, dude, can I just say, I tweeted earlier as well. I was like, you know Ronaldo when he had the long sleeves, right? But he pulls them up so they're like midway up his arm.
Yeah.
I need
with
that,
like with the wristband,
with the tape, bro.
With the white tape, it's done.
But yeah, it's the Saul Niguez one, mate. To be honest with you, because Lukaku starts. Period. No debate. You'd imagine with signing a player like Saul Niguez, he starts. But then you've also got UEFA Best Player of the Year. That's a bit questionable, but Jorginho there. You've got N'Golo Kante, who you'd argue, especially within his field, is the best midfielder in the world in terms of his role of what he does for that team. And you just wonder what Chelsea are going to be. Is Saul Niguez going to play a huge part? I don't know, or at least I can't remember whether it's going to be an option to buy or an obligation to buy.
Wait. So Saul Niguez to Chelsea is going to happen. Okay, so all parts agreed. So Saul Niguez will be a Chelsea player. It's going to be a £4 million loan fee, and is an option to buy for 35 million euros next season.
Right.
That deal to me, like, where that come out? What 36 hours, 36 minutes ago?
Yeah. So that's been
Chelsea.
I mean, again, he shouldn't have signed the contract. He's an idiot for signing the contract. But it seems like they found a resolution. And I would also say that, but by getting a player out the door and also receiving, €5 million loan fee straight away, obviously one that is going to go on right until the end here. It's going to be Griezmann going back to Atletico Madrid. James, that's the other one.
I don't understand what Barcelona are doing with this Griezmann thing. Like, okay, you're going to let Griezmann go. You're struggling. You said that you wanted a striker. Why would you let a goal scorer like Antoine Griezmann go? I'm guessing it is to do with the wages of like Antoine Griezmann. But can you bring in a player of the quality of Antoine Griezmann before deadline day?
I mean, I guess they're going to stick with Memphis maybe playing through the middle, and then obviously Aguero, trying to rely on Aguero to be fit. Which James, you've heard me say it a million times. Aguero is burnt out. Aguero needs to kind of retire. I see him similar to Wayne Rooney in many aspects. They worked so hard and they played at the top level for such a long period of time. It actually goes kind of underrated. What's up, Silver Surfer? And I just think Aguero, whilst I think it was a nice idea for him going to Barcelona, it wouldn't have been the type of player who I would have brought in. And obviously, James, we can't forget about Martin Braithwaite, who is still there killing it, obviously.
Silver Surfer, welcome to the chat. So we just have a quick comment from Bryce right here that just want to touch on.
Yeah, Chelsea only played two deeper midfielders. Kante's no doubt starting. But this is the thing, Bryson. You're raising the right point here, because in my opinion, Kovacic is a great player. Jorginho was UEFA Player of the Year, right? So I mean, and to, all jokes aside, Saul was one of the most coveted midfielders in all of Europe. So I don't know what they're doing, Chelsea. And to me, with a lot of their signings at the moment, there does seem to be let's just throw a bunch of what at the wall and just see what sticks. And obviously, it's worked for them in the past. We know how cutthroat Chelsea are. So let's see. Hey, soccer and psychology, you're welcome. I got you. I know I got a couple DMs from some American people who like coming into the stream, and they were like, "Yeah, what time is it your time?" I was just like, oh, "Okay, I can work that out for you."
But the one thing I'm going to say about Chelsea, Bryson mentioned how Kante starts. I don't think so. Kante to me is a player that, at his absolute best, yes, he's Chelsea's best midfielder. But Jack, as you can see, the game against Anfield, Kante came off the bench. The game against Arsenal, Kante came off the bench. I don't think Kante is like the main man for Thomas Tuchel when you really think about it. And I do think Saul represents probably a more of a
James,
midfielder.
breaking news.
Okay.
Antoine Griezmann back to Atletico Madrid, confirmed. Here we go. Agreement completed with Barcelona. Loan until 2022 with an option to buy for 40 million euros.
40 million euros. They paid 100. Listen, Barcelona. I thought Arsenal are the worst run club. Barcelona are even worse than Arsenal.
Yeah.
The fact that the Pjanic is on his way back. Did Pjanic get to go back to Juventus?
I don't think so. Let
me just confirm this. But the rumors about Pjanic going back to Juventus on a loan deal that will probably see Barcelona pay a little bit of his wages just shows me that this club just don't know what they're doing. Let me just confirm here. So, but it hasn't actually been confirmed yet. No, it hasn't been confirmed yet.
No, I mean, James, I could sit here for the rest of the stream talking to you about how badly I think Barcelona are run. It's embarrassing at this point. You let Leo Messi out the door. I don't know how you managed to screw that up. I do not understand that, first and foremost. Having a chance for him to leave the club is abysmal to me. Elish Mariba as well. I interacted with Timmy a little bit on Twitter regarding this. I know the kid's asking for a lot of money and stuff, but this is one of the most talented central midfielders we have going. This is a top 10, talent, a teenage talent in the position, and a future with him in that side, with Pedri, with Frankie de Jong. You're really licking your lips there. So the idea that you let him go to a club where he's just going to get better and better, and then maybe if you want him back one day, you're going to have to pay through the nose for it. Bad business all round for Barcelona.
Tottenham fans, how do you feel about you guys not getting Mariba? Because it feels like it was already agreed that he was going to be a Tottenham player.
True.
I think what was it, 20 million? I'm guessing it must have came down to the wages or whatever. I don't know why Tottenham would get away with the wage, or maybe it was Champions League football. But the fact
also, that Ndombele's still at the club, right?
Yeah, but when you look at Ndombele, let's be truthfully honest, Jack. How many people really want Ndombele in the midfield?
I still see a lot there. I think
I think he's a terrific player, but the price Tottenham paid for him, because you know who Daniel Levy is. The price Tottenham paid for him, they're going to want to recruit that back or a little bit more.
The one thing I'll say, especially regarding this whole Kane situation, even Pep, I think, mentioned that Daniel Levy is, I think he referred to him as like an expert negotiator or something, or a very skilled negotiator. From a sales aspect, I agree. He always gets what he thinks is worth it in terms of when he's selling and getting rid of players. I do agree with that. But buying players, Daniel Levy can be a bit of a mug sometimes. Let's be totally clear here. Sometimes Daniel Levy will put money out there and it will not be a good investment at all. So we can't call Daniel Levy this master negotiator if his purchases are the ones that let him down. That's half the job.
Also, do you remember the Willian deal where Tottenham already agreed to sign Willian? They paid a taxi for him to go for the medical or something like that. I ended up going to Chelsea. It was absolutely crazy. But we have a great question right here.
Veerslide, does the Camavinga transfer shock you? Not at all, mate. Not at all. We've heard all summer that he wanted to go to Real Madrid. I believe at points it was just Manchester United, and that was only if Pogba left. And PSG, I think that was there just in case Wijnaldum didn't come in. I'm pretty sure that's why it came so late. So I think when Real Madrid saw the opportunity and thought to themselves, you know what, we can get, again, a player of, Mariba kind of level of player in that position, same age, for such a low amount of money. And he's going to be, he's not been loaned back to Rennes. Ancelotti wants him straight away, and he might even be plugged straight into the starting 11. So I think you can see how this happened. And this is exactly where Camavinga wants to play. So, good luck to him.
I think I said this like a week ago. Like, if you go through my Twitter feed, you probably find it there. I tweeted this thing that Real Madrid could have Pogba on a free, Mbappe on a free. I thought Camavinga on a free at the start, but he ended up being a Real Madrid player, and Erling Haaland for 75 million. I believe three of them will definitely happen. One of them has already happened with Camavinga. Mbappe will be a Real Madrid player soon, and Paul Pogba most likely will be a Real Madrid player. I feel for Real Madrid, this is a brilliant deal from the point of view of their midfield was getting old. The fact that they had Modric in there, he's turning 36, 37. You had Cruz in there, and you had Casemiro in there, who's been there for a while now. Bringing him in, we're also Valverde and probably Paul Pogba coming in soon. I look at that from Real Madrid, and I'm like, the business that they have in store. And we'll get into the Mbappe thing in a minute. Let's just leave that for now. But Real Madrid are looking amazing at this moment in time. Interesting comment from Silver Surfer here, Jack.
Mariba had a pre-agreement in place with Leipzig, even though Barca wanted to sell him to Spurs. Okay, that's understandable. I mean, what I would say to you, though, Silver Surfer, is the emphasis there is on the club to accept or reject certain proposals. So regardless of Mariba having certain agreements with certain people, if the club are willing to let him go, let him slide, because remember, I think his release clause is like hundreds of million, right? So Barcelona are the ones who can agree or disagree with certain sales. That happens first, then the player needs to agree, and that's kind of part two. So I guess what happened was I'm sure both offers were accepted, Leipzig and Spurs, and Mariba probably chose Leipzig. And you know what? I don't blame him, because he's going to go straight into that team. He's going to develop like crazy, and he's not going to have to compete with the likes of a Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, a Tanguy Ndombele, etc., etc. So I like the move for him. It's definitely a shame for Tottenham, but I think if I'm advising him on what to do, where to go for his career, that's what I would probably do. Go to Leipzig. Those guys are just churning out talent season after season. They lose 2 or 3 of their best players every single year. We saw rumors of Dani Olmo to Barcelona for 70 million euros earlier on today. I mean, obviously that's not come to fruition, but this is what Leipzig do, just developing talent.
There's another question here for
Bryson. It was him asking for 15 million agent bonus and over 100k a week wages. Mariba to Spurs was happening after we met with the player.
Well, Jack, I just want to bring something up quickly. I think with this Mariba thing, and I see from Barcelona fans are pissed. They are,
of course,
livid with him, and going into the comment section and seeing almost hate. But I'm not saying that, first of all, they're wrong to give him hate, but I can understand the frustration in the way, maybe, I'm not sure if it's him or his agent conduct things, because the fact that even Tottenham meeting up with you and you're asking for these ungodly figures for a player who, let's be honest, get your money, but he's still Jack. He's not there yet. He could be there, but he's not there yet.
But I think the point is, James, professional sports people are a really bad knee injury away from never playing ever again. And the money in their contract is not necessarily guaranteed. There are things with these contracts where you can just get rid of players at a certain point, or if it's kind of a backloaded contract where it's all about appearance fees and goals and assists and all this kind of carry on, there's a certain level of if you're injured, then you're dead to us kind of thing. So for a young man who has a lot of talent, and remember, James, the definition of value realistically is how much somebody is willing to pay for something. Now, we don't necessarily know the contract details of RB Leipzig, but I'm sure it's not bad. I'm sure it's better than what Barcelona were offering. I'm sure it's the same, maybe a little worse, but if not very similar to what Spurs were offering. So for me, when you're 18, the background that he's from, go get your money, young man. And then, maybe your second or third contract, we can start talking about being more realistic.
I don't doubt that, but at times I feel with players, get your money. But at times I feel a lot of the time it's driven by the agent.
Oh, 100%.
But that's where I feel a bit uncomfortable, because I feel a time when are agents doing it for the player, or are they doing it for themselves?
Well, this is the ongoing debate, and unfortunately, agents will always be judged by their results. There's a reason why people hate Mino Raiola, but Mino Raiola gets stuff done, and he gets his clients money, and he gets he gets all the right stuff.
Well, first of all, like getting football players money, is that really difficult?
I don't think so, but you have to understand that obviously the biggest expenditure, it makes up, sometimes depending on the club, up to 60% of your total revenue spend is on wages. So they're trying to penny pinch every single, place that they can. Donnarumma, for example, was offered a certain contract extension at Milan. I believe he would have been happy to stay, but it was nowhere near what he ideally wanted and Mino Raiola thought he could get. He signs for PSG. He's not going to be the starting goalkeeper in the league for this whole year, but he has the wages and the level of money that he wanted to take over from Keylor Navas next season. So I don't know. Agents are always going to be judged on their result. And I think the better agents, look at Jorge Mendes as well. Jorge Mendes engineered Ronaldo's transfer back to Manchester United. Well, all this fake stuff with Man City made Man United act, and Ronaldo got what he wanted.
Well, Jorge Mendes is a goal, but also another bit of news has dropped. The fact that Barcelona are looking at Sevilla's Luke Dion to replace Antoine Griezmann. They're probably going to pay a fee for him, or I don't know. They might work out a swap deal. But you go from Antoine Griezmann to Luke Dion, like.
But I think James, we have to look at what the goal is this year for Barca. And I'm not trying to be rude here, but I think you'd have to say with the summer that they've just had and the position that they're in right now, they'll be thanking their lucky stars if they make top four. And I think that, all jokes aside, Luke de Jong is a decent enough backup forward option for Barcelona in that league in particular to make top four. I do not think this is a club shooting for the title necessarily, but we know with the young talent they have, that they could surprise a few teams. I kind of wish Timmy was here to shed more light on that, but
I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and like the biggest chance today, we thought that it was going to happen. We kind of hoped it was going to happen too, and if Sammy kind of mentioned it here, the Mbappe deal to Real Madrid, I think is now confirmed. It is off. Mbappe will be staying at PSG, and he could join Real Madrid on a free in they could have a pre-agreement in January, and then could join on a free next season. And I do believe that's what Real Madrid were planning to do. But the fact that rumors stated that Real Madrid offered over 220 million euros for Mbappe. Jack, could you explain what PSG were playing at?
James, I can't explain it. Like I tweeted this the other day. PSG have effectively done the best transfer of all time and the worst bit of transfer business of all time within the same window. We have never seen a player of this value go for free. We've never seen it. There are better players. Yeah, I mean R9, sure, but I think if you look back way back then, if you look at Kylian Mbappe's value on Transfermarkt or any of these sites that values, the CIES Football Observatory, you look at any of these sites which value individual talent, Kylian Mbappe is number one. There are some guys up and no, I know, but like, and we know that Mbappe is not the best player in the world right now. Maybe he's top 5. I'm sure he's in the top 10. But in terms of value, because of his age, what he can do, what he can be in the future, this is the most valuable asset in all of football. To let that walk out the door for free is one of the biggest flexes we've ever seen in football. Obviously, in the same breath, though, James, you sign Lionel Messi on a free. So those things kind of go hand in hand.
For me, it's like I look at PSG's window, and you can't really say that like they've messed up big time. But the fact that the money was on the table for Kylian Mbappe to me was worrying. Real Madrid put in £180 million euro bid a week ago, and the fact that it wasn't rejected or anything like that, it made no sense, because at least what upset Real Madrid was the fact that PSG didn't respond to them at all. So they made a bid. PSG didn't say anything, and that's gonna tick a team off. But I also believe at the same time, this was all a little play card from Real Madrid so they can get the player on a free. I do not, in my heart of hearts, believe that Real Madrid really, really tried to get Kylian Mbappe the way that they wanted to. They waited and waited and waited, and now the fact that they know that, okay, in a few months' time, they're going to get the most valuable football player in the world for absolutely nothing is just. But again, for you, Jack, just remember it's fees. Remember the sign-on fees. But
well, this is and this is something that I want everybody watching, and if it's something that I can give, if I can give to you guys, to try and make clear, guys, you cannot look at the Sun and the Daily Mail, right, and then go, wow, they got so and so for free. These players ask for a lot of money in signing on fees, and it's because the agents.
That at the end of the day, soccer and psychology, even Kunde, he doesn't even.
But if you're Kylian Mbappe, now I know his family are kind of his representation, but if you are Kylian Mbappe and you know that the year before, the team that you're going to join was willing to, separate themselves from 175 million euros, 200 million euros, you're signing them on with them for free, so you're doing them a favor. You have perfectly good reason and good cause to go, how much of that 175 is going to go on my signing bonus? How much of that can go into my wages? Because you've still got the same player. You know what I mean? So we need to be clear that a signing on fee and the wages make up a huge cost for a football club. A lot of the times people go, oh, so-and-so's had such a great window. I'll give you a great example, James, right? Arsenal have spent the most, right? And Arsenal have spent the most this window. Now, I wonder what Ben White's wages are, Tavares, Lokonga, even Martin Odegaard, right? Ramsdale. What do you think those players' wages are compared to Cristiano Ronaldo, Rafael Varane, Jadon Sancho? What do you think the comparison is there? Because I'm telling you that the players that Manchester United have bought, while they've been cheaper, in the long run will cost the club way, way more. That's the kind of differences we're talking about here. And that's the thing that usually goes largely unnoticed in the transfer window.
Well, Ben White is going to make well over 100 million. A few of these guys are going to, again, let's not talk about compare them to.
No, of course.
But I just look at this. I look at this from this point of view. When it comes to wages, you're always going to have to pay wages regardless of it. But the fact that you get to avoid actually paying for the player, in the first place, I just think it's a huge thing. Like, Jack, I get it. Messi joined them for free and he got get a sign-on fee. But how much would PSG would have to sign Messi? Let's say if he was, up for sale and Barcelona had to sell him for a price.
Well, James, this is it, isn't it? And imagine being the Barcelona board accepting a bid for Lionel Messi. Every man has his price. Every man, seriously, and I truly believe that because it is absolutely true. But you'd really have to put in one hell of a bid to test the resolve of Barcelona and of Messi. Because remember, you're not just paying the club, you've got to convince the guy to come to you as well. One thing we see far too often is clubs, we've already talked about it with Spurs already this evening, players can turn you down. It happens.
And also have for Tottenham a lot, to be fair, because they get turned down all the time. But Jack, let's just move on. Let's just talk about some other interesting deals. Daniel James to Leeds United, what, for 35 million?
I want to say it was 30, wasn't it?
30? Well,
I think so.
Around that,
28 maybe.
Well, around that fee. I look at this from this point of view. I found it really weird that he started yesterday for Man United, knowing that he's not a Man United player today. It's quite odd in in that way that it's not like he comes off the bench or anything like that. He started for you. He played 60 odd minutes, and now he's not a part of your plans at all. That just means rather a great deal came in, or he just wasn't a part of your plans in the first place.
What I'll say, and I've been saying this at work to people who listen whenever Manchester United games are on. We are still like probably a good few weeks away from seeing a full strength Manchester United. We're missing, we're missing a McTominay, we're missing a Rashford, we're still missing a Ronaldo. You know what I mean? We're still missing these starting players. Obviously, Raphael Varane, played his part and obviously got a clean sheet, and everybody was kind of.
Fred is still missing. He hasn't played yet.
Fred, right, exactly. So I think that, Daniel James is in there. I think it was a game of matchups for that one in particular, but also there's a certain level of necessity to it as well, James. I mean, I tweeted about this. James, the guy made 74 appearances in his career at Manchester United across all competitions, right? 9 goals, 9 assists. I just, for an attacking player that was signed for 16 million, and then Manchester United have the audacity to sell him for like a 12 million profit. I mean, that's great business. I think Manchester United have only sold 3 or 4 players for more money than that. And that was Di Maria, Ronaldo. There's a couple others in there as well, but fascinating.
Jack, if someone would have told you that who would have went first this season, Jesse Lingard or Daniel James, you probably would have said Jesse Lingard.
100%.
Jesse Lingard staying on, Daniel James is going. I just think maybe Manchester United must have looked at it from this point of view. That price is too good to turn down for a player like Daniel James.
Well, absolutely.
Also, I look at it from Daniel James' point of view. I think this is the best move that he could have made in the Premier League. If he could have picked a team to join, Leeds United was that team, and it works out for all parties in a way. Man United get the money, Leeds get the player that they want, and if it is a success, like, because you remember Daniel James in like Swansea and like the style of play and how he was running onto balls. He might not be the best ball player, but as a finishing product, it won't be too bad. Another one that I want to talk about was Edouard, Celtic striker Edouard, who signed for
just putting it in
on a 5-year deal. All my days, to me, that could be one of the best deals of the January transfer. I mean, not January, of the transfer window. This is an amazing deal for Crystal Palace. And like the fact that they were trying to get Eddie Nketiah for around 10 million, and now they got Edouard for around 20 million, who is a much, much better striker than them, is just an amazing deal for them, and I look at the Vieira hasn't got a win yet, but this elevates everything, and also elevates Edouard's levels too, because it's all good doing it in the Scottish League. If you can do it at the Premier League level.
But I think we've seen this before, James. Certain players from the Scottish League, it's a tougher brand of football up there. It really is. And I think that if you play in Scotland, there'll be no worries about the physicality of the Premier League because you have that in Scotland already. So it's just whether he has the quality. I like the fact he's French. I think that works with Vieira. Now, usually I don't buy into that too much, but I do think that there's a nice level of familiarity. I don't know how his English is. Maybe it's a little spotty, but, Patrick can easily speak to him in French, right? And just try and get him going. And also, James, when was the last time that we looked at Crystal Palace and we saw a striker that they had and we went, okay, there you go. That's your guy. Because it doesn't really happen. There's been an over-reliance on Wilfried Zaha from an attacking sense for far too long now. And that's a player who doesn't want to be there. So if Edouard can bring these performances in, this will go miles in keeping Palace up. And, hopefully Patrick Vieira can build something here.
Bryce, I feel like overpriced is something that you hear a lot this transfer window. I think a lot of players have been going for a crazy amount of money. But again, I do agree with you. For Leeds, it is an absolute terrific signing from them. It's one of the best of the window. And Bielsa, that's just another toy for him to play with.
I'm just putting something in chat now. Sorry, guys.
Guys, the reason why I'm on my phone, I'm just flicking through, just waiting for something else to come up. Maybe for like Fabrizio Romano might have us, thinking
so
something. Maybe
we're Sly. What do I think about West Ham's transfer activity with Vlasic, of course, and Alex Kral? I think it will always be.
Did they get Vlasic?
Yeah, they did. They did.
Oh,
That's I think their alternative to Lingard. What I would say is that I'm sure Manchester United were asking for far too much for Jesse Lingard, which is why they did go to Vlasic. If I'm a West Ham fan, I think I'd be a little bit disappointed that you just didn't pay the price for Lingard. He was so good for that spell. I just don't think you can, take the risk on another guy who might not work out. But saying that, how good has West Ham's recruitment been over the last 2 years? The answer is fantastic. So I'm not going to bet against either of these guys coming in and doing a fantastic job. But for me, you have somewhat of a proven commodity in Jesse Lingard, who you've seen even recently do very, very well for your football team. And it's a player as well that Manchester United will want to sell. So even if it went to the very, very ends of deadline day, I do think Manchester United would eventually, fold and say, you know what, have him for whatever price you're willing to pay. And it would have been a good move for United, a good move for West Ham, and a good move for Jesse. Very rarely do you get all three parties happy.
And to me, the fact that they were able to get Kurt Zuma in this window too,
right?
West Ham
was that confirmed, James?
Yes. That was confirmed yesterday. Did you, Jack? Did you not see his the video posted by the West Ham media
team? No, was it
just
good?
Smiling it was a little bit creepy. He was just smiling like this.
Jesus.
I was like, oh, big man. But yeah. To be West Ham to me this year, they're a team that last year overachieved. This year, I feel like this is the expectations now. The expectations are there that we a top 7 position, and to me the recruitment reflects that so much. Just tell me Rondon is back. Is he back?
Yep, Rondon to Everton is done.
Wait, no, he played for West Brom.
Yeah.
Who did?
And Newcastle as well. Which is why I think he's gone to Everton, because Rafa would know him from Newcastle. Bryson, to your comment there, why is Brighton signing Cucurella when they're in desperate need of a 30-40 million pound striker? I think you've already kind of answered the question. It represents great value at the position. He is a really good player, and he will be in high demand, especially the way that we know that Graham Potter plays his football. That's for 18 million. That's just a great investment. We know what he's going to be going forward, and he will be sold for a profit in the next couple of years. I'm sure that's this will be used as a stepping stone to bigger things. Yes, facts of the matter are that you cannot go into a season expecting any success with Neil Maupay. I know he's not a very well-liked character in the league, certainly not by me. But somebody like a Salomon Rondon. We saw Moise Kean as well. There's another kid who I think went back to Juventus for less than 20 million. Palace need to do something in that striker position, but there'll be a reason why they haven't. I don't know what that reason is, but I'm sure that there is one.
Just a quick one for Silver Surfer. My thoughts on the Maitland Niles tweet. I look at this from this point of view. I can understand the players' frustration. I get it. You want to play football, but at the end of the day, Arsenal have to do what's right for them. It's just like what Tottenham had to do what was right for them with the Harry Kane thing. Whether the player likes it or not, at the end of at the end of the day, the club must save their own ass. And if Everton really wanted that player, in my eyes, you put the money down for him, because they wanted a loan deal. And I look at Arsenal, we let Torreira go out on a loan. We now let Bellerin go out on a loan. Runason's out on a loan. Just loans upon loans upon loans upon loans. We want to get rid of players, and for me, a player like Ainsley, in the fact that we even sold Bellerin, we let Bellerin go on loan. You keep him and then you let him play. If he agrees that he wants to play at right back, you keep him and you let him play, because he was a success for us for the FA Cup run. So at the end of the day, Ainsley, you got to keep professional. But I understand his frustration. The fact that also Arsenal could have sold him, it should have sold him to Wolves for 25 million.
Right.
Last season, just shows you again just poor business from Arsenal at the same time.
And again, guys, I hate to say this, and I'm not trying to be offensive here to a team that James loves very dearly, but this is a sinking ship, guys.
One back of the Lakers, guys. Come on.
And for some of those players, there'll be a certain level of oh man, yeah, we need to get off of this thing because people's career prospects are going down with each of these performances from Arsenal, and it seems like the board and Edu and all these guys are on board for this long-term project, and it may mean Arsenal out of Europe for 2 or 3 years. And I know James is sick of hearing all this stuff, but
Jack, leave this long. There's no long project.
I know, I know, but that's what's coming out. That's what we're supposed to believe on this. And I just think some players will just be looking at it and going, you know what, I need to get off this ship before my stock plummets along with the club. Soccer and psychology, based on the moves or lack thereof made over the last few weeks, who signs Haaland next year? That is legitimately a fascinating conversation. I'm going to say Real Madrid. I do believe that the European Super League will be happening, and obviously the finances that they will get from that is going to fund Mbappe and Haaland, and that's going to be Real Madrid coming back in, putting their foot down, saying, "Hey, we're here to stay." I think the appeal of a club like that, those two playing together, that would be my bet. But I think what we have seen this window is people rule themselves out. Manchester United have ruled themselves out, probably. Chelsea ruled themselves out. But there's still a couple of other teams who may make it available. James and I talked recently. Robert Lewandowski is not getting any younger, ladies and gentlemen. And you've got the two best strikers in the Bundesliga, right? They play for rival teams, and we know that these teams like to do business with one another. Now, if I'm advising Erling Haaland on the safest way to develop his career and just become the superstar that he basically already is, it's a move to Bayern Munich. It's a move to Bayern Munich. It's a move to play with Nagelsmann. It's a move to play with that great core of players that they have there. And for me, that would be fine. But I think the allure of Real Madrid is going to be way too much for him, and Mino Raiola as well. Lest we forget, we're going to need somebody like Mino Raiola to get his slice of pie.
I feel like it's an interesting one, and it's a question where you look at the rest of the top young talents who are going to be available next season. You kind of have a clear idea where they're going with. Haller, you don't know. I look at this from this point of view. And Real Madrid was my take, and I tweeted it before, but everything kind of changed with the fact that Benzema just signed a deal that will take him to 2023. Now, I don't see Benzema waiting on the bench or sitting on the bench or playing second fiddle, especially at this rate in his career where he's playing the best football of his career, and he's gonna continue this level for the next 2 to maybe 3 seasons. So I see him playing, and I feel like Real Madrid they have a lot to do with this Mbappe deal, the Pogba deal that will more than likely happen. I look at Erling Haller, I look at what every team has to offer them, and I just feel like when Bayern Munich want a player, when Bayern Munich set their sights on a player, they more than likely get it. Bayern Munich, they rarely miss. In the fact that he's in the Bundesliga, Jack has mentioned the Dortmund links already. And the fact that Robin Lewandowski has made it clear to Bayern that he kind of wants to leave, that he wants to try a new challenge. I just see Lewandowski going out the window. They might get 100 or wherever they get for him, and the 75 million goes to try and get Erling Haller. And I see Erling Haller as a Bayern Munich player. Bayern or Real Madrid, but I'm going to say Bayern for now.
I think we know what Bayern Munich have, and this is what the smart teams do. Their selling point is the project. They don't need to sell you on how much money that you're going to make or certain aspirations that you have. Bayern Munich can just show you the hard facts and say, here's where we're at. Look at the physical condition that our players are in. Look at the football that we play. Look at the success we have. Look at the characters that we have here. We always compete in the Bundesliga, usually win it. We always compete in the Champions League, occasionally win it. And I just think that would be a very easy move from a Norwegian kid to move from Northern Europe to Central Europe, within Germany, to then somewhere else in Germany, to then develop himself. And guys, we have to remember there's still time for Erling Haaland to grace the bigger clubs. This is not an old guy in his late 20s like Harry Kane, working on his probably biggest contract of his career. This is a guy who is probably going to get a big contract, and then his next one will probably be even bigger. So, let's not rule anything out with Haaland. And obviously with Mino Raiola there, Seriously, it's going to be whoever pays the most, which is why I think Real Madrid probably. But if I'm advising them, I'm telling them to go to Bayern Munich all day.
Wait, so Serge Aurier's contract has been torn up by Tottenham, terminated. Why is that? Like, I don't.
So, if that's the reason behind that will be that's probably a mutual termination of contract. So what that means is, if you terminate somebody's contract, they're obviously due the money that they would be owed from that contract, and you can just let them walk for free. With Serge Aurier, I assume it's going to be the fact that that guy probably wasn't going to touch the turf this whole season. So Spurs, I'm sure, made him aware of that in no uncertain terms and said, hey, look, we're not going to pay you the full amount of the rest of your contract, but we'll pay you some of it. Let's just tear this thing up. You can then go sign for another club with a nice payoff. What do you think? And he probably accepted it. Now, this is very different to obviously what Willian did. Willian did not want to accept any extra money. He just said, hey, guys, it didn't go well. I'll see you later. And Willian's made his money. Fair play to him. And I give him, he really let Arsenal off the hook. Serge Aurier, not as nice as Willian by the looks of things, but I think it's probably the right move for both parties. Sometimes you just have to admit it didn't go very well. And as long as you leave the table, both of them really, really happy, I think that you've probably done the right thing.
We got a few comments right here about the Serge Aurier.
Yeah, Bryson. Aurier doesn't want to be here. He's made that quite clear for the past few years. We've just signed a younger version of him. He's surplus to requirements. I do think Emerson, Emerson is probably going to be a more talented player, not as physically dominant. Serge Aurier really is a beast in his kind of prime level of his fitness and athleticism. Emerson much more attacking, probably a little bit faster, quicker, more nippy. So I do think that it is probably going to be an upgrade for you guys. Soccer and psychology with Aurier, with Emerson signing, it's likely he'll see any time this year. He always got more criticism than he likely deserved. Spurs defense has been below average for the last 3 years or so. Yeah, and this is the thing, like, that Spurs team, Serge Aurier, when it was at Paris Saint-Germain, wasn't he? The guy just wanted to attack. The guys had the ball all the time. They were the most dominant team in the league. He could just do his thing. And obviously he's gone to Spurs and he's had to actually do some defending, just like the rest of his team, and obviously he's let the side down a couple of times. I still like the player, but there does need to be an environment and a coach that works well with him.
Yeah, well, I think Aurier has been like a weird one for me when it comes to Tottenham fans. Like, it's a love-hate relationship, because there was a time when Mourinho came in and people were like, oh, Mourinho changed Aurier, all like he's playing out like at his best. I remember the Man City game, he was terrific during that game, but it just felt after that, just every time Tottenham lose, every time there's a mistake, it just seems Serge Aurier was involved or like in and around that. And I also believe that he was an easy target for Tottenham fans when things
100%.
And again, it's probably the right thing for like both parties. And interesting too, Serge Aurier is an Arsenal fan, so he went to Tottenham, did what he had to do there, messed everything up, and as a gooner, respect. But let me just see, guys, if there's anything else that is going to come up.
James, Reece Nelson to Feyenoord, Rotterdam. What do you make of that?
I didn't get it from the point of view of like, okay, like he's already tried Germany. Why go to a lesser league? Why not try and find a Premier League team like a Burnley, a Crystal Palace, who's going to take you on? You can really get that Premier League trade, But again, Feyenoord, great team. I think they're in the Champions League this season. I'm not particularly sure if they are. If you Champions League or like Europa League, if he is guaranteed game time and he is going to play constantly, I think it's just good for his development. But I would have rather see him stay in the Premier League and like really challenge him like himself there. But to be fair, he's also been passed up by Smith Rowe, by Bukayo Saka, by Joe Willock, who recently just left. So it's been a tough one for him, if I'm being truthfully honest.
James, if you're Mason Mount, if you're Mateo Kovacic, if you're Jorginho, if you're any of these Chelsea midfielders, and Saul's now coming through the door, what do you make of that? What are your kind of thoughts on that?
Of course, like I don't think he's really out there to trouble a player like Mason Mount and Kai Havertz. I feel like it's more of an N'Golo Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic type of problem. But for me, I look at Chelsea from like this point of view. They embrace the competition. and like it makes them a better team overall. The fact that they have strong players in every position. To me, it's a deal that I thought Manchester United should have done. I'm very disappointed the fact that Chelsea were able to get him on a loan with the option to buy the Man United did not even consider or push it like in that manner. But I'm guessing the Ronaldo stuff got got in the way. But again with Chelsea, like this midfielder that was already a good midfield has just improved tenfold with these two. With Saul coming in. But again, we got another one. Yeah, apologies if this is already discussed, but how likely is the Super League? Oh, this is one for.
So basically, guys, this is going to be the same answer for a very, very long time. This is rumbling away in the courts. The basis.
Wait, Jack. I just want to say, guys, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. Also, hit that like button for this live if you haven't already. Let's obviously try to build the channel up at the same time.
Yeah, like with regards to the Super League, this is going to be the same answer for a very long time. This is going to be an ongoing legal battle. There are European, fair competition rules and laws that apply to everybody. It doesn't matter if you're FIFA, UEFA, anybody, you name it. And obviously what one company or what one organization cannot do is monopolize a sport or monopolize a competition. It doesn't work that way. And what basically these clubs are saying is they should not be treated badly for trying to create fair competition within the European rules and laws. Now, obviously, with Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Juventus being the main ones kind of spearheading this whole thing, it's because they're financially in trouble. Now, this went through the Madrid courts, the Spanish courts. Keep in mind, 2 of the 3 teams are Spanish, and you'll be shocked to hear that they were in favor of the European Super League. Now, when this goes through the Swiss courts as well, again, the headquarters of UEFA and obviously the headquarters of FIFA as well, it will be interesting to see what happens. Because realistically speaking, the way UEFA have behaved, the way that, basically everybody has behaved in terms of the reaction to the European Super League has been against the laws that are currently in place. So this is going to be an ongoing legal battle. I will repeat this again for the people who still are yet to for this to sink in. Just because the football club that you support said, oh, we don't want to do it anymore, there is a legally binding contract where you have to pay 300 million euros to release yourself from the European Super League agreement. As it stands, every club that has left the European Super League has not paid that fee. They are legally still a part of the competition. It all depends on what's going to happen with the court, but this is going to be rumbling and ongoing for a long, long time.
Yeah. Leave this European Super League stuff. But let's move on. Bryce has an interesting comment right here, Jack.
Which club has jumped up the most places in the Premier League table due to this window? James, you wanna take that one?
Oh, that's a tough one. Is it maybe Aston Villa? They've they've been good, but it's gonna take them time to adapt. Leicester, to me, are still going to be where they are about. West Ham, they finished high last year. 6 would be about their place. I feel like if you're talking about a team jumping, you're looking in the top 4, and you're looking at Man United maybe jumping up one more place. Probably Man United jumping up one more place when you think about it. That's all I can really see. Like, teams have gotten better, but it hasn't been anything that's like huge. Like Man United and Chelsea are the 2 that you pick, but there isn't like a team that's out there that's just completely taking the window by storm.
Right. I think well, Ollie's kind of in here stealing my thunder there before me, but I think Palace. Guys, I urge all of you, go and take a look at the players that Palace lost this past season. This is not the creme de la creme of elite European football, but it's basically their whole starting 11 Crystal Palace lost. There's multiple very, very, experienced old school professionals in that list of players that Palace have let go or sold. And they needed to basically replace the entire team with a new manager who's not had the opportunities that he probably deserves. With Odsonne Edouard now as well coming in from Celtic, that Palace team is totally revamped. Prior to Vieira coming in, and prior to any other players coming in as well, I would have probably picked them to go down. But the players that have been recruited by Patrick Vieira, by that Palace team, I do think it probably saves them from relegation now. And again, James made the point. If we're talking about a team that have done so well in the transfer market, how many places do they jump up? James used a great example. Manchester United have had an amazing window, but in James's eyes, they've probably jumped up one space in the league. Palace may have jumped up like 4 or 5 places in the league. I know, different levels here, but it's true.
Where did Palace finish last season? Because that's the fact that you say saving for relegation. That means you're looking at the 17th, 16th spot, which is not really jumping up. I think that they finished around like
they were 14th last year.
They were 14th last year. Do you expect them to be mid-table,
I guess
top half?
But I guess what I'm saying is prior to the signings, I'd have picked them for the drop. So I would have picked them 18th, 19th, 20th. And again, with the signings, anywhere from 12th, anywhere from 12th to 14th, I think is about right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still like, let's just wait and see. A team hasn't really caught my eye and got me thinking, like, oh man, they're gonna be a serious problem. Villa had a great one. I feel like what Crystal Palace have done recently, like, has been nice. To be fair, Jack's kind of, Jack's really struggling, like, in the give him some time. But so soccer psychology wants to actually flip the question right now and like ask what team has fallen the most down the table since the transfer window. And soccer psychology, I think, what, you're a Tottenham fan, right? I think you kind of clearly know, probably Arsenal, if I'm being truthfully honest. Like, every team ahead of them has gotten better and strengthened, while I wouldn't say that they've strengthened, but they're in a spot to me where it's like they haven't strengthened, they haven't got better, but they've bought players at the same time. And the players that they've bought don't put fear into you and don't make Arsenal look like they can take the next step. In fact, you probably look at other teams behind them, a team like Everton, for instance, and maybe they look at the form of this team, we can catch them. Aston Villa or Leeds, thinking Arsenal up there, they're gettable. So Arsenal are, to me, obviously my pick at this moment in time. Jack has gone missing at this moment in time. Just hopefully everything's good. Okay.
Sorry, you guys. I need to get some water. That caught me.
That's all right. But soccer psychology kind of flipped it there and asked, who is a team who's fallen the most? Who's fallen the most after this transfer window? And I think it was a quite easy answer, Jack. I don't know about you. Who do you have in your eyes?
I mean, I don't love Leeds' business, generally speaking. I think that they have not really done enough to kind of consolidate their position from last year. It would shock me, James, if Leeds finished 8th or above this year. It would shock me. I think they're definitely...
Leeds finished in the bottom half last season.
Well, I've got them... They finished 9th last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was impressive.
Yeah, 100%. But for me, Leeds jump out, Wolves jump out, and then, again, sorry to say it, but I think Arsenal jump out as well. I think, for me, looking at Arsenal, you'd imagine maybe in and around 10th, coming up this year. So a drop of 2 places. But again, I think Leeds will probably drop off quite a lot, and I think Wolves will drop off quite a lot as well. The thing is, Arsenal have spent enough money, and there are enough new faces in there for them to, at least remain somewhat competitive with how they played last year. So as much as people want to criticize Arsenal's transfer window, if they drop from 8th to 10th, say, it's not necessarily as big of a drop-off as if Leeds go from 9th to 14th, if you know what I mean. I know people want to bag on Arsenal for obvious reasons, right? But, I think that we can't deny what Wolves and Leeds have done. It's not been impressive.
Ollie Spencer's you brought up like a good thing with Vieira, and one thing that has kind of got me a little bit angry, a little bit anxious, is the fact that Vieira's already getting judged by Palace fans and a lot of people after just 3 games in charge.
Right.
Like seriously, like everybody's had like tough times and all that, all that sort of stuff. But here's a manager who's came in and had the craziest turnover of players. Yeah.
That we may have ever seen, James. Seriously, that we may have ever seen in the league.
And the fact that like he's already been like pointing the finger at just shows me that did you guys really want him in the first place? And to me, maybe okay, this is just my opinion. I love to see black coaches given like an opportunity. And the fact that if Vieira doesn't succeed here, he's not going to be like a Sam Allardyce or like a Brendan, or not Brendan Rodgers, David Moyes, who gets a second opportunity. He won't get another opportunity because he'll be judged solely based on this, like solely based on like this job. And the one thing I just want to see is just Palace fans, especially, just really give him a chance and kind of just let him like blossom for 6 or like a season, because this is a massive change for the football club.
It's huge, and here's, I'm just going to try and back you up there, James, with what's happened. Andros Townsend left the club for free. That's probably for Palace a starting caliber player. Patrick Van Aanholt has left the club. That's a starting caliber player. Mamadou Sakho has left the club. That's a starting caliber player for Palace. Wayne Hennessy has left the club. Gary Cahill has left the club. Scott Dan, James McCarthy, Connor Wickham, Sam Woods, Conor Gallagher. There's a lot of potential first team players there who've left the club. I know you guys are, a lot of you potentially Spurs fans. Do you think about Kane leaving? You think about Alderweireld leaving. You think about Lloris leaving. You think about Højbjerg leaving. You think about Lucas leaving. You think about Ali leaving. You think about Bergwijn leaving. All those players leaving your football club. What kind of state would you necessarily be in? With the new players coming in, it would be totally different. Now they've signed Guehi, they've signed Joachim Andersen, Michael Olise, Will Hughes, and obviously we'll see what happens with Odsonne Edouard. It seems like that's going to be done, but that is a huge turnover in players. We need to give Patrick Vieira time, because these guys are all from different parts of the world. They may not speak the language. It's a new coach, a new environment. We saw this with Chelsea last year. With Frank Lampard, it was a slow start, a lot of new faces, but then they ended it with winning the Champions League. Now, I'm not saying that that's what Palace are going to do. I'm not saying Palace are going to do that, but I am going to say that anything shaky early days, this was not an appealing job for managers to take. If you were talking about difficult jobs to take over in terms of Premier League management jobs, Crystal Palace would not be near the top of that list. I'm sure it'd be up there with the Arsenal job, right? And probably the Spurs job as well, with the Harry Kane dilemma. So, I kind of echo what James said there. Patrick Vieira, I think, is a good manager. He clearly knows his stuff about football, and he does need to be given time.
So Sabitzer to Bayern Munich, and one thing I'm just going to say about this is just, to me, just Bayern Munich just cherry picking from the league again. The fact that they can just go ahead and just take the best players, what's it called again, from all the teams and almost weaken them in a way. To be fair, they end up bringing in the Barcelona midfielder. I'll give it to them, like, in that situation. But Bayern Munich for 16 million, bringing in that, like, they also do the best business. Like the amount of, like, they get Lewandowski on a free, the amount like a Hummels on a free, like the way that they work, to me, is just absolutely sensational.
But James, again, you're selling the project. You're selling the club to the player. People can, James, people like you even can talk about all this stuff in terms of like, oh, how did they get him for so cheap, blah, blah, blah. Bayern Munich, for all we know, right, could have just been one of a number of clubs buying, right? But if a bunch of clubs want to offer more money, offer him more money, offer Bayern more money, you still have to convince the player. This is a three-pronged thing here. There's a selling club, a buying club, and the player, and all three have to say yes for a transfer to go through. If Sabitzer was potentially going to earn more money, and Leipzig were going to get more money from selling to a certain club, if Sabitzer knows Bayern are in for him, and that's the only one he's going to agree to, that's where he's going to go. And this is the beauty of Bayern being able to sell their project to the world, get these great deals.
I didn't even know that he had a year left.
Yes,
like,
he did.
on his deal, and like to that is a big comment. That is a big thing to put up there. But again, it's just to me, it's the fact that a player so established in like a team like RB Leipzig, one of their biggest contenders, just gets taken away and added like to Bayern and made them even stronger. To me, it's just it's the Bundesliga should be the Bayern Liga when I actually think about it. A few more comments I'm gonna pop on right here.
My goal during every live stream is to get James to verbally admit that Arsenal is in a horrific state. Come on, you Spurs. I will say, though, soccer and psychology, before James jumps in, I don't think James is under any illusions that things are going beautifully well there. James knows that it's not going great.
Okay, let me just let you know. Arsenal are, to me, one of the worst run clubs in the world. Worst run clubs in the world, without a doubt. Recruitment, everything, manager, horrible. Just like we're really just in a bad place right now. The state of the squad, the state of the dressing room is horrible. But one thing I never want to hear is Tottenham fans talk. Don't talk to me in a manner of you guys are better than us, because until you win a trophy, which you haven't done since 2008, Jonathan Woodgate, and he's retired, and he's been sacked and employed like 50 times since then, and you still haven't won anything. I don't want to hear none from Tottenham fans. That's just like that's just my thing. I like Tottenham. You guys are not. So I like Tottenham. I got to rebuke that one.
That would be one hell of an admission at this point.
I like some of your players. You know, I like Human Song, but the rest of you guys.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, the issues are so deep there, and that's a North London thing. So I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm going to stick with Roma maximum points out of 2 game weeks. You know, joint top of the table with 6 points. You know,
Jack, when I told you Roma could win the league, are you still against my?
I am. Don't get me wrong. I do think that Roma will do well against the smaller teams. It's just against the bigger teams, I'm just a little bit worried. I mean, I trust Jose, but I'm just, you know, I'm scared it's going to be too many red cards and we're going to lose.
Listen, Jack. Look, listen to this comment here. Trophies is all you. So wait, I just want to know, like, Enders. So what do you play for then? I don't know what you play for, because when Arsenal weren't winning trophies, it was hell to me. That's all I cared about.
Yeah,
I wanted to win. Everyone wanted Arsene Wenger out because we wanted to be even more competitive. Again, it's backfired big time, you know. And I wasn't one screaming Wenger out like that. But football is you play to win. Are you playing for development, or are you playing for more? This thing about yeah, you guys football fans care about how much money and profit their club makes. I'm like, does that money come to you?
Yeah, right.
Like, do you guys see all this, like all this sort of stuff? No. The one thing that we care about, that we see that passion to us, winning football matches, but especially is winning trophies. And if you don't get trophies, I'm not having it. As I said, and I'm going to say, I'm going to hurt a lot of Tottenham fans right now. You guys might never come back after this. You guys might burn after this. But you guys are what Leicester are. You were meant to be the Leicester who won the Premier League, who won the FA Cup, who do all this type of great stuff that we see, finish in the top 4. You know, you guys just aren't that. You haven't taken that next step. And Leicester, to me, when we talked about, what's the top 5 or top 4, Leicester technically are like ahead of you guys. I just hate to say it. It's true.
It's true. I mean, it's true. I mean, but yeah, ahead of Arsenal too, to be fair. But still, I just want to touch on David's comment. Looks like Mbappe will be going for free next season to Real. If you were PSG, would you have accepted the 220 bid Real reportedly offered, or tried to convince him to stay? First of all, you accept that money. Are you mental? Are you mental? For me, seriously, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding here. With a year left on his deal, I think I would have probably accepted in and around 120, 100 to 120 for Mbappe. With a year left on your deal, what you guys have to consider here, right? In practicality, you're paying basically for a 1-year loan. That's what you're doing, because the player was free next year. Now, how much would you pay to have Kylian Mbappe for 1 year? What would the price be for that? I mean, think about that, right? Some of you might now be thinking, actually, it's probably in the tens of millions. Maybe I'd pay 50 or 40. Now, obviously, PSG want to keep the player. You've got to persuade them. But for me, anywhere in and around 100 to have Mbappe for a year basically is what you're doing, because you're cutting him out of a year of his contract is what you do. So 220,
For me, I feel like the thing that must get everyone a bit like scratching the head is like the fact that possibly they turn down a world record deal for Mbappe, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
It is world like it equals Neymar and probably just gets a little bit ahead of that.
Right.
You know, when I like when you actually think about it. And as I said, like Jack, you mentioned it, they managed to do the greatest business we've ever seen, bringing Lionel Messi in for free, and what that did for the football club, the fact that they gained over 200 over 20 million subscribers from followers on like Instagram and all sorts of different social media platforms from Messi signing. But to lose 220 million euros, I just think
it's bad. It's bad business. It's bad business for a guy that's going to go for free. And I know a lot of people are doing the whole financial fair play argument. Listen, guys, Mbappe and Neymar, that was over 3 years ago now. Okay, we are the financial fair play is done in 3-year little slots, right? Neymar and Mbappe was a while ago now. And you tell me how much PSG have really spent over the last 3 years realistically. That's where we're at now. So PSG, yeah, they don't need the money. These are funded by rich people who, I remember this TikTok, right, of people giving you an idea of how much money is, and a grain of rice was $100,000, right? And he shows you 1 grain of rice, which is 100,000. Then they show you what 1 million looks like, what 50 million, 100 million, a billion, a trillion, etc., etc. These people have silly money, you guys, silly money beyond comprehension, and they're going to just fund this club until it is the biggest and most dominant thing going. But what do you need? What do you need to do that? You need to win the Champions League, and you need to not be beaten in your own domestic league by Lille. So let's work on that first.
If I have an indication that PSG could win absolutely everything this season, so this could be a very historic season for them. In fact, it seems like Mbappe will stay now.
Yes, 100%.
We get to see Messi, Neymar, Mbappe all in one team. Shut the front door, it's done. Shut the front door, it's done. And to be fair, Ollie, you're right. Football is more than trophies. It depends. If you're looking at Burnley, trophies don't care to them. If you're looking at a team like Leeds, maybe at the time, trophies doesn't matter to them at this moment in time. And yes, trophies isn't for everybody, but for the teams who want to be competitive, the teams who want to win, I play to win trophies. I play to win. That's just that's just my thing. Maybe it's different for you guys.
There's a diss in there somewhere, James.
I'm glad you caught the rebuttal there, Jack.
All in jest, James. You two will have to do a live stream for the North London Derby. Hey, look, if it's on, as long as if I'm not working, we can do it.
Get battered. Listen.
I'm so glad that we'll be able to have the relegation of Arsenal in a whole documentary. Hey, look, Mo, all jokes aside, I've said this to James. I think that you could probably argue there's maybe 5 teams who are in contention for relegation. I think if you're then reaching to who the next 5 teams might be, I think Arsenal are in that thing of next 5 teams. They're going to be in the top 10 of likely people to be relegated. Probably going to be 8th, 9th, or 10th in that list. But they're part of that list now with the way things are going. But let's be clear, no one's putting money on Arsenal to get relegated. It's not going to happen.
Arsenal won't be getting relegated, and the North London Derby, if we can cover it, guys, trust me, we were happy to do it. I mean, we should have covered the last one when we did beat you guys, but we'll see if we can cover this one. Hopefully you're unbeaten by then, and we can just come and end it. That would be amazing. Just quickly,
this documentary is going to be something else. This is going to be. I liked The Last Dance. I liked the Man City All or Nothing. I like watching Hard Knocks every year in the NFL. I think that's a fantastic show. This is going to be different. This is going to be different with some of the rumors and some of the stuff, James. I don't think we'll get into it, but some of the stuff that we've heard recently from Arsenal, the start, how bad it's been at the beginning. This is going to be a fascinating watch.
Jack, I have a weird feeling that the documentary, if it goes the way it does, I have a feeling that the documentary won't come out. And forget about the All or None documentary. This Ozil documentary that has been kind of rumored at this moment in time going to talk about what his last few years at Arsenal and like especially the last few months at Arsenal. I'm really interested to see that because that could really unlock a lot of things that like we didn't know or like we wanted to know so badly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely, and that's going to be a huge part. The way Mesut Ozil was treated, and also, it's going to be interesting to see whose bias it goes towards, right? Because obviously, you can, two sides to every story, and perspective is a very important perspective and context are two very important words in football. And you need to apply the right context and look at things in the right way before you just come out with some wild opinion that's going to get you clicks, right? Camavinga gone to Real Madrid. Saul may be going to Chelsea. I think that's been confirmed now, David. I think United missed out on a quality midfielder this window. David, this is a good point that you bring up because I think James and I actually disagree on this one. I don't think so. I think the fact that Pogba stays is more than enough for Manchester United to keep. I think Scott McTominay is a great player. I really do. I think he's a very good footballer. And I think that he, when fit, will be that guy sitting behind Bruno, sitting behind Fernandes. Obviously, you've got Donny van de Beek who can come in there as cover. Fred, I know he lacks in terms of quality, but the guy works hard, gets around the field. Nemanja Matic is still there playing football. There's some young kids coming through. So, let's not pretend that there's a serious lack of central midfielders at Manchester United because it's just not true.
Jack, I giggled at the Donny van de Beek thing because as this rate go, we might not see him for the rest of the season, Jack. Like even when the game is calling for a Donny van de Beek type player, he doesn't play. I feel sorry for him. I'm not a fan for players like going out there getting their agents, but I'm surprised he hasn't said anything or done anything to this is a really talented midfielder here, and we're not seeing anything happen for him. But Jack, my thing going on like the whole Manchester United thing is that. Did you see the Wolves game?
Yes, parts of it, yeah.
Did you see the first half? The amount of times Adama Traore, literally, I understand he'll do it to a lot of players, and he'll do it to a lot of teams. Literally ran through the Manchester United midfield on a number of occasions. Paul Pogba on the ball, I don't doubt him. Off the ball, he's a bit of an issue. A lot of people say he can't play in a two. I do disagree about that. I think he's capable of like playing in a two, but then I look at who's next to him. Scott McTominay, I'm a fan. I like him, but for a whole 83 match weeks, do I think Scott McTominay is going to take Man United to a title? No. Fred.
See, I do. I think he has that in him. Bruno Fernandes is a hard worker in midfield, but obviously we know where his qualities lie. I just look, guys. It's at the end of the day, it's your own personal opinions.
Ollie did too.
Come the end of the season, obviously we're gonna see who's right with regards to that. We know that obviously he's had this ongoing groin injury, so he's going to have surgery to get that sorted. Supposedly it's going to be very quick and for him to come back. But I do think he has size, he has work rate, and he has the ability on the ball. I think your point, David, is spot on. I think that is the final area where Manchester United would have wanted to upgrade. Right wing has been dealt with, right? Centre back has been dealt with. Striker has now been dealt with in a major way. Holding midfield was the last piece of the puzzle, but you have to remember this is not just an unlimited pool of money, especially with the players they've already bought. If Fred leaves, if Matic leaves, if Van der Beek leaves, it would make sense to bring another player in. But as of right now, you cannot overload that position more than it already is overloaded right now. And another thing you have to consider as well is they don't necessarily have to play a 3. They could, as James said, play a 2. So there's enough players in there, especially with the outlay that they've spent in that position as well. Van der Beek wasn't cheap, Fred wasn't cheap, Pogba wasn't cheap, Fernandes wasn't cheap, Matic even wasn't super cheap. So I think we need to know what we're dealing with and, again, apply the right context. This is not FIFA career mode, even though this summer feels like it.
I look at the Chelsea midfield and I look at what they were able to do in Europe, especially, and like how great they were in the Champions League run last year. And I look at the Manchester United midfield, and ultimately, really, what let them down was obviously that, and you can mention the defense at the same time. What did Jack have right there? Jack, if you just back it up a little bit. I came back from training, and I'm hearing we signed Luke Dion. Who's that? Oh yeah, it's Timmy.
Timmy's not happy, boy. I don't know if you can see any of these. Timmy's gassed. Oh man, that's really funny. So here we go, guys. Here's another one from Le Parisien. PSG are now planning on making another huge contract renewal offer to Kylian Mbappe with a historic signing bonus. He's planning to reject it. But again, this is the game that you play. These are the dice that you roll. James, we did a video about these guys in the last years of their contract and what's going to happen, where they're going to go. So many of them are still going into that final year. We talked already about Pogba. We talk about Mbappe. These are all players who could go for free next summer.
But Jack, I believe for a lot of players right now is that they prefer to leave on a free. I think having the thing of having the clubs, having like the club's choice in your hands, like your destiny in a club's hands, it's quite difficult for players. And the fact that they get to pick and they get to know what they want, they get to negotiate and get the best for them overall, I think it works out. That's why we're seeing a lot of players going on a free. But the fact that we see two top players like Paul Pogba and Mbappe getting both go on a free, and also seeing Messi go on a free this year, it's crazy.
Well, James, let's start straight away. All right, I've got it here. Kylian Mbappe free next year. Pedri free next year. Leon Goretzka. Oh no. Some of these players will, you'd say, but realistically, they haven't yet. They haven't. There's a reason why they haven't had it done yet. Leon Goretzka. I know that we know that's probably going to happen, but still, Pogba, Ansu Fati, Franck Kessié, Paulo Dybala, Ousmane Dembele, Lorenzo Insigne, Brozovic, Lorenzo Pellegrini, Niklas Süle, Andrea Bellotti, Ginter, Christensen, Onana, Dennis Zakaria, Roma interested in him, Kramaric, Rudiger, James Rodriguez, Lacazette. Some of these guys, some of those names are big names. I mean, top of the list is Kylian Mbappe. These are all guys who could go for free next year.
Okay, but guys, by all bait players like Pogba and Mbappe and probably Dybala, what one of the free players out there that you think realistically is possible to get for your club out there? Please put a comment down below. Let us let us know there. But Jack, the list we done last year was quite strong, but this list is woo,
different. Yeah, absolutely.
Some of the names right there, you're thinking, how in the hell does he get to be free? It's absolutely crazy.
So in terms of announcements that we're still yet to hear, Saul to Chelsea has still not been announced by Chelsea.
It's already been confirmed.
But by Chelsea?
Or Fabrizio Romano's
no, I know, but again, these are still. Yeah. I trust Fabrizio Romano more than anybody. But I'm just saying, Chelsea have not confirmed it. Atletico Madrid haven't confirmed it. Tomiyasu to Arsenal. You and I need to have a conversation about that. Griezmann to Atletico Madrid, Dion to Barca, and Nuno Mendes to PSG. These are still supposedly done deals, but have not been announced yet. And we're obviously 40 minutes away from having this finally done. Are we going to have a De Gea fax thing happen here at some point?
I mean, we possibly could have that, but my goodness, Jack, this transfer window so far, how has it left you feeling?
Exhausted. Because seriously, I want to react and chat with you and dwell on one topic, right? I feel like you and I didn't really hit Messi to PSG as much as we'd want to. Why? Because so many other things were happening. And then before we know it, it happens with Ronaldo. And then before we know it with Ronaldo, something's happening with Kane or something's happening with Mbappe. This window hasn't given us any chance to rest. And again, I think the fascinating thing is everybody's a selling club. Because of the pandemic, everybody is a selling club. The reason why we see all these loans, you guys, is because nobody has any liquid cash. It's just about being able to pay. Yeah, it's just about being able to pay wages. That's all it is. That's why we're seeing all these loans. Helps with the finances year on year. James, Manchester United are paying Juventus 2.5 million euros in five years. 2.5 million every single year for the Ronaldo deal. They'll still be playing Juve by the time he's probably left the club. all these clubs, it's just a case of trying to get by, keeping everybody happy, but the financial implications are real. The one I wanted to talk to you about, and I guess with our relatively heavy Spurs fan base as well, Takahiro Tomiyasu from Bologna to Arsenal. Thoughts? Are Arsenal going to start playing a back three with Ben White and him and Gabriel? What's going to happen there?
Jack, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about the player, but from what is reported, he seems like he's one of the most highly rated defenders in like Serie A. He's he's a Japanese international, 22 years of age. The one thing I know from like the Japanese players is that technically these guys are superb. And I know for a fact he's going to be able to play off from the back. Repairing reports that he's a center back that can also play right back, and that might be a thing that they want to look at him from the point of view of letting Hector Bellerin go and seeing right back being such an issue.
He played left back at points last year too, so he can play right. And James, if you want him to step into like a holding midfield role in an emergency scenario, right? Say you're beating Man City, right, or something, and you just need to bring on some defensive players to shore things up. I think he could do a great job in like holding midfield.
Two things from David, and I'm so happy you said that. So David goes, it's a Barcelona automatically extend their contract at the end of the deal, because that's what I was thinking, because I knew that they negotiated something with Fatu. Not Fatu. Fati before. Fati before to actually get the deal like done. And I remember that they were giving him around 100, so a week for his wages. So I was a bit strange with that. So now I kind of get in. And also Pedri is almost like the diamond in the rough. They know like they do not want to touch. They do not want no one to get near. So those two there, they want to keep close for a long time.
But again, guys, we can talk about how badly Barcelona are run. The fact that Fati and Pedri have not been tied down long term, the fact that Mariba has been let go, right? The fact that I think they had to get rid of De La Fuente, they got rid of Firpo as well, didn't they? Junior Firpo to Leeds. This Messi's gone. I mean, Griezmann's now gone. This club, seriously, it's absolutely embarrassing. I'm not usually a huge fan of so-and-so could do better than this, my nan could do better than this or whatever. I honestly believe that if you put me in charge in some of these Barcelona decision makings, that me and James would do a better job than their front office. Seriously. Some of it is just slap you in the face easy to think about. The Barcelona players that are coming through, I remember speaking to Timmy about this. Serious talent coming through that can just hold them because they don't have to pay these transfer fees. The kids are still young. They might not ask for too much wages, maybe not Mariba, but they might not ask for too much wages, and that could carry them through to the next generation. But here we are.
David seems like he's very excited for this move. The fact that he can play all across the back four. I feel like it's interesting, and I like it, certain parts of it. But in my opinion, like, where in the hell did that come out from? Because did you see any links or indications before the deal happened, Jack?
What for Tomiyasu?
Yeah.
I know that Bologna have been marketing him heavily because they know
for Arsenal. Because I genuinely thought that he was a Tottenham player, because there was super strong links about him joining Tottenham at the time, and the fact that he joined Arsenal.
The one thing I will say is there's a certain level of laziness to link a Serie A player to Spurs now purely due to Fabio Paratici. I just think it's lazy reporting. There was interest. I have no doubt that there was interest, but to me, I don't know how serious the interest would have been. I also think Tomiyasu would have been marketed heavily to the Bundesliga, Germany as well. But again, a lot of the Italian teams, especially the smaller Italian teams, it's going to be a case of trying to keep the wages down. We've seen Roma release and get rid of like 10 plus players this year, just dead wood. Bologna, Atalanta, these are all guys who know that they can recruit somebody for a fraction of the price that they sell somebody for. Right. So I think Tomiyasu as well has just been marketed heavily. And yeah, he's going to be a good player. I do agree with David. I think that one of the best things Arsenal can do is, help out their £50 million centre-back that they signed, play a back three. And Tomiyasu is going to be very capable of that. I think Gabriel can be capable of that as well. I think you let Tavares bomb up that left-hand side. Maybe if Tierney's not playing, who knows? Maybe Tierney plays a left centre-back role. And you can just kind of move from there. It's not going to surprise me if they do it. But again, I have less and less faith in Arsenal as each day goes by because, James, if this is all part of the project, why weren't you learning to play a back three a year ago, right? You know, like why would you just be dropping this if this is all part of your plan? Because there is no plan.
So basically, what you're trying to tell me, Ollie, that he's been passed around most teams and Arsenal just stumbled at the feet of him. Well, that sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, but James, seriously, again, and this is the thing I guess I wanted to talk to you about. I don't think he's much of an upgrade on what you already have. I like the guy. I do like the guy, and he's going to be an improvement. But again, you and I have gone back and forth on this 100 times. Arsenal are signing another player who is just a squad player, or maybe a starter. But I tweeted this earlier. I don't know if you agree. I think an Arsenal first 11 and an Arsenal second 11 play each other. I think it's probably a draw. Seriously. Burnt Leno in goal for one team, Ramsdale in goal for another team, Tierney on one side, Tavares on one side, Cedric on one side, Bellerin on one side. Centre backs is much of a muchness. Strikers, do you see what I mean? Martinelli for one, Lacazette for another. On the left, on the right, they're very, very similar. There is no clear A and B with Arsenal. It's just all B plus.
David, I think one thing, like you might need to understand with this Erling Haaland deal is that he's a very priced asset to touch, and it feels set that I think me and Raiola must have already spoken to like Dortmund, and Dortmund look at it from this point of view of that they can make a lot of money from him, yeah, but who can Dortmund really replace him right now? The fact that Chelsea chose Lukaku over him, and Chelsea, you know how much money Chelsea have to. I'm not saying that they have more than like Man City, but it just shows you that Chelsea can't go on for him. It's a difficult deal to get done, you know, and the fact that it seems every team's going to wait till next season where he is 75 million and the chance of signing him is a lot more easier than like this season where Dortmund can ask for the most craziest amount of money from him. And even then, you might still struggle to get him. Silver Surfer right here. US Open predictions. The most obvious answer I can give you right now is Novak Djokovic. What are you gonna do? Maybe Alexander Zverev, because he was able to beat Djokovic in the Olympics, but in a best out of 5 game, I don't think anyone is capable of beating Djokovic at this moment of time. You probably have to go back to prime Federer and prime Nadal to try and beat this guy at this moment of time.
Yeah, guys, it's
chance.
It's Djokovic. The guy's a killer, and he's also kind of turned himself into a heel, into a villain. And unfortunately, when you have that kind of mindset, you just wipe people. When you've got haters and you use the haters to fuel yourself, you know, we all know Roger Federer is the face and Novak Djokovic is the heel. And you know, at this point in time, the heel's winning. That guy's got a killer mindset. Unreal.
Crazy stuff there. Jed just joined in quite late. Yo, bro, what's up?
I'm still trying to process everything that's going on.
Camavinga, talk to us.
No, guys,
very happy about
right
that.
Now. He's a Real Madrid. Sorry, yeah, once we have Jed on, he's a big Real Madrid fan, so he's just gonna give us a lot of Real Madrid stuff now.
Camavinga, very happy.
Sort of Arsenal fan. Yeah, put that. Go on, Jed.
Don't worry about that. But, the less said about Arsenal, the better at this point, because that club, at this point, I think liquidation might be the best result as of now. Camavinga was great, but it almost feels like a consolation. It's like, you know what? Mbappe didn't happen. I will give you like an appetizer for now to keep you satisfied. But 18 years, I've seen him play a few games for Rennes, and I think in the long run, it's a very great purchase.
Yeah,
Real Madrid have finally registered Mariano and Ceballos, so even if Mbappe was to miraculously happen now, it would take moving around 2 players or a player to actually make way for him. So I think that's just done now. I think Real Madrid are just looking at getting him to sign a pre-contract in January and use for free.
Yeah, get him on the balls, man.
But
it doesn't
Jed,
feel like a loss.
I know, and this is what I was gonna say. Are you happier because we spoke on like a number of occasions about that, but the fact that you can get Mbappe for free next year, the most valuable football player on earth right now, doesn't that not make you even more happy and like even more excited? I get it, you have to wait a year more, but to lose to get Mbappe for free, bro, is that not like dreams that you just would not believe?
Obviously, when I'm thinking with emotion in my heart, I would want him now, no matter how much it costs. But if I'm being logical, like next year, him coming for free is the best result. But I wanted him now. We wanted him now. We wanted the Galactical signing then and now, because as humans, we always think about the now, not the later. So I did want him now. But I mean, in hindsight, this is like really good business on our behalf and very, very, very poor business. Probably one of the worst decisions PSG could make. And why they're doing that, I do not know.
I think it feels to me like they're rolling the dice on trying to get him to sign an extension, and I just think that's madness because it's not going to happen. He's made himself
Jack,
clear for
he
2
rejected a
years.
contract offer
Yeah.
today, of 45 million a year, highest paid PSG player in history, and he rejected it. This is like the 7th or 8th contract renewal he's
Yeah.
rejected. What more do they think they can offer him where he will sign? It's done.
Right.
I think David actually mentioned here, and like to me, this would be so cool to see. Like he would love to see Real Madrid and PSG
That'd be
play
sick.
in
Yeah,
in the knockout stages.
they'll probably knock us out though, so it doesn't really matter. Like they'll knock us out, and we'll just take it on the chin. We'll be back next year with a vengeance and with your player as well.
Jed, what do you reckon the chances are of Mbappe and Haaland in the same summer?
I mean, because Mbappe will probably be coming for free, it leaves a larger chance for Haaland. Haaland's agent to what is Raul, he's hell bent on sending him to Madrid as well. That's an obsession of his. So I think it's highly likely, especially because we're not paying for Mbappe. Especially because we're not paying for him.
Jed, comment from Silver Surfer: who's going to win La Liga?
Well, Atletico have just juiced up their side. They lost out, but they brought Griezmann back again. And if we're getting the best version of Griezmann, which I don't know if it's past him or not, Atletico could go back to back. But I do have a strong feeling we could grasp it this season. We weren't too far off last season. And I do think if we do a little bit of tweaking here and there, win the crucial fixtures, I do think we can win the league.
Does Camavinga start?
I don't know, because I feel like there's about 2 or 3 different alternative lineups you can use with our midfielders.
Right.
He doesn't start in every one of them, though. That's like it just depends on the Modric, Cruz situation. Casemiro, Valverde. We have Casemiro, Valverde, Camavinga, Cruz, Modric, and Isco is now all of a sudden decided to play the football of his life again. So I like that we're spot for choice now, though. Yeah, I like that.
Jed, I have an interesting question for you. And like, let's not look at it in hindsight and what played out, but the fact that there was 2009, you signed Ronaldo, Benzema, Alonso, Kaká. I think our like Arbeloa too. That's
Alonso.
Arbeloa,
yeah,
Alonso, yeah. Alonso
next season next season you could sign Pogba, Erling Haaland, and Mbappe. What for you could be what for you was the better window? Let's say if you did sign those 3.
Does Pogba want to? Apparently, people are saying that this Ronaldo transfer now would be enough to keep Pogba at United for a bit longer.
Listen, I feel like Pogba's played out a smart smokescreen from the point of view of that he spoke about this like 6 months ago. He said that his dream is to play for Real Madrid. Like one day I want to play for Real Madrid. And the fact that he can leave on a free and take Manchester United out of the way in like just join Real Madrid automatically, I don't think he's going to turn that deal down. Ronaldo, it might get a bit of whisper in his ear, but again, I feel like he will be a Real Madrid player at like at the end of the year. And like again, I won't be surprised if him and Mbappe have already spoken. The fact that they're already in France right now, next season, also Real Madrid, Camavinga, we'll see you there too. It's going to be a madness.
I think that would be an amazing transfer window. Whether it tops like at that 2009 transfer window, because you have to realize that we bought the best player in the world and the best player in the world before that best player in the world. Like Ronaldo and Kaká alone at that point was.
That's nuts.
I don't think anything tops that. Then you put it together the fact that you had like the youngest prospect in Benzema, and then you had Xabi Alonso, a well-renowned midfielder. I don't think anything's topping that, man. I don't think so.
I do think, though, the idea that Mbappe and Pogba, both of whom would be free, I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of signing on fee and wages and all that stuff, but that's an impressive haul, to be fair.
You know what? That's true. If we're looking at it from a money perspective, that is basically only playing for Haaland, really.
Also,
how much for Haaland? 75 million.
Also, somebody like Pau Torres, Koundé, these guys are still at their clubs. They were linked heavily all over the place, but they're still at their clubs. So
why did Koundé and Chelsea break down?
Wait. Can I just say, guys, if you have any questions for Jed at this moment in time, because he's not on a lot, guys, please put the comments down below, and Jed would be happily willing to answer them questions. So please comment. Please comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. But you guys can carry on.
Yeah, Koundé and Chelsea, that just broke down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, to be honest with you. I would imagine, and it's something that I'm surprised hasn't happened with Saúl Ñíguez as well. It's like assurances on playing time. James and I were talking about it already. Like, look, I think Chelsea are brilliant, but it does feel a little bit like they're just throwing, at the wall and just seeing what sticks. Because
Saúl's gone.
Yeah, no. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at Chelsea
right now,
if you look at Chelsea though, right? What's that starting midfield look like? Who are you leaving out? You're leaving some serious. You might be leaving the UEFA Player of the Year on the bench, or N'Golo Kante, right? Or I don't know.
Quick one. Silver Surfer has for you, Jed. Thoughts on Arsenal transfer window, Jed?
Shambolic. Nothing more you can say. I mean, they bought Tomiyasu today. I don't know, was that a panic buy or like, oh, you know what? You guys have been talking a lot. We'll just give you the shambolic. They have not hit the mark with any signings that they should have made. It's not even the signings. It's the lack of intention. The players we were looking at, we didn't look like we wanted to push ourselves forward in any sense. I don't think it's been great at all. And the players that they have spent.
I will say though, mate, I do like, all jokes aside with the Ben White thing and Odegaard and whatever, and spending the most, I made the point to James, like, just because the spend on getting the player registration is so high, I made the point to James, like, who do you think's paying the most wages? Like Ronaldo, Sancho, Varane, like all those guys, or Ben White and all those guys, So as much as they have spent a lot, I still don't think over the course of the contracts which they've signed, it's been as much as some of the other teams. And I would also still say, I think Tavares and Lokonga do have upside, but obviously it's every other player. Even Tomiyasu has some upside, but I mean, realistically, like you said, it's just a lack of ambition, serious lack of ambition.
Jack, with players like Tavares and Lokonga, you need them in a really good team with good experienced players to help bring them in. Otherwise, they will get burnt out. Yeah. Yes, they will get burnt out. Like what's probably going to end up happening to Saka and Emil Smith Rowe.
Jed, this might be weird to you, but the way I look at this Arsenal window, this is one of the worst windows we've had in a long time. From the point of view, I look at have we really bolstered the squad? No. In my opinion, this is almost on the level of the season that we had where we only signed Peter Cech and we signed no outfield players. That's the sort of level I'm looking at. Because when you generally look at it, we haven't improved our squad. In that season, bar the goalkeeper, we didn't improve our overall squad. And that's the way I'm looking at it at this moment in time. Yes, the money's good. Yes, it looks like we've spent a lot. When you really squint and look in at it and you look at who we're trying to catch, we haven't even taken a step. I feel like more than ever that we've taken one or two steps back, if I'm being truthfully honest.
I mean, also, players leaving. I think you've done a reasonable job. Willock, Torreira, Willian, Guendouzi, Saliba. I know some of these are loans. Reece Nelson, Runarsson has gone, Bellerin, David Luiz. But again, there's still players at the club where you're like, what the hell are they still doing there?
Well, like Jack, when you look at it, Torreira, we signed him for 27 million. One of the most promising young midfielders at the time, came in there, started like a house on fire. I'm never going to forget the goal against Tottenham. But to look at him right now, he has no value. And the fact that we're just going to loan this guy to the point of view where virtually his deal completely runs out, and then he gets to go on a free. Lacazette now goes on a free. Reece Nelson, decent. I'll give you that. Bellerin, who we're trying to push out the club, he's still technically at the football club. Like it's
Ainsley's still at the club. Like we're keeping him. But I don't know if we are.
Well, go on, Jeff. Sorry.
Do they have any intention to play him?
Rumors today stated that like he had a discussion with Arteta. Actually, he had a discussion with Arteta yesterday, and they weren't happy. Eddie and Arteta, and they were not happy with him, and he was forced to train by himself today. But the rumor saying that he's gonna stay, and like, would he play? The fact that Bellerin's leaving, I feel like more likely he will play. But
after what he posted today,
did he post anything today?
Yeah, he posted something on Instagram saying, "I just want to be somewhere."
Oh no, exactly. That was yesterday. He posted that. Arteta and Edu obviously had a discussion with him, told him like how they felt. He had to train alone today, and I feel like Bellerin leaving, he will end up like getting his position back, because bro, for the run for the FA Cup, like he started and he played well in that situation. This was the weirdest one, I'm going to say. David put this one out here. Burnley been offered Weston McKennie. Like what? Like how did
I think that's rubbish. I just think that's rubbish.
Burnley of all teams, Weston McKennie.
They like him too. They like him. They know what he can be, and there's also a great appeal to the American market there for Weston McKennie. He is a good player, but again, it's an overloaded central midfield group there for Juventus. But we've been saying that for like 4 years. Nothing's changed.
Also, guys, David. Also, the Willian deal was already terminated and confirmed. Jed,
those guys did you a favor, dude. Jesus.
When ranking Willian, where does he rank all time in some Arsenal's worst business?
Like maybe the bottom 5, I'd say. I mean, one. No, because at the very least, like I know, like at least Arsenal didn't pay money for him.
That's the scraping the barrel.
At least they didn't pay money for him. That is the only positive I can see from this. At least there was no transfer fee involved in this, because then Chelsea would have been laughing at us even harder.
Well, dude, it goes hand in hand with Pedro, and I'm not just trying to make this about Roma for the sake of it, but I think Pedro and Willian, their time in kind of top level football ended at basically the same time, and the two teams that were suckered in were Roma and Arsenal. Arsenal got Willian, Roma got Pedro within a year.
Was Pedro that bad at Roma?
Yes, yeah, he's now playing at Lazio. He's playing at Lazio now.
But you know what it is? I would rather take Pedro than I've taken Willian.
Any day.
Willian, Pedro just had that little bit more about him, I don't know how bad he was at.
Dude, the performances weren't much better than Williams. I'm just going to put that out there. There's a reason why both. There's a reason why both players aren't at the clubs that they signed for, like a year ago. There's a reason.
Well, I'm
just saying.
Well, there's at least like Pedro got to find a team in Europe, while Willian had to go all the way to South America to sign for a team. So that just tells you.
Willian has done his visa in England and everything. He failed his test twice. He's passed that time. He's set for life now. He didn't mind going back to Brazil because he's set for life in England too. Yeah. He's opened his restaurant in Brazil. He's fine now. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's taking his weekly wages from Arsenal and he's putting it into his business. He doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
Well, he definitely didn't care on the pitch. So, Jeff, to be fair, the transfer window is done right now. What is the top 4 or the top 6 looking like for you in the Premier League?
It does it have to be in order or just?
Should we have them in order? Okay, no, just give us the top
I
six.
don't think I could tell you. Top six, I think, is Man United, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, West Ham, and then I think Spurs.
Ooh.
Spurs.
Yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah,
No less.
I think
No
they're just
Leicester.
gonna be. I think they're just gonna be that team that's gonna be able to fight down from under and beneath this season. I could just see them. Not saying they won't get in the top four, but I think they could be fifth or sixth.
But, I mean, top six is still a great achievement for them. But like, do you not look at Tottenham right now and do you feel any much improvement from what you've seen from Mourinho last year? Because bear in mind, Jed, they were top of the league in November. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they were unbeaten. They might have been unbeaten in November. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I do, but I feel like the whole Mourinho thing destabilized the team. But if they're able to keep Nuno in for the whole season, they have Kane firing on all fronts. To an extent, they have Son firing on his fronts. You know, Spurs are actually making moves in the transfer market. It's not the biggest of moves, but they're actually solidifying their team. I think they can. I think sixth or fifth place is within their reach. Because I don't see Leicester cracking into that top 5 or 6 this season.
Oh, see, I do. I think it'll be close, but just though. Let's be fair. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be clear cut, but I would think I'd pick Leicester ahead of Spurs.
So would you say West Ham and Leicester then, apart from the top 4?
Yeah, basically, I do think West Ham are going to have. I mean, this is Everton. This is Everton 2.0. You know, Souček is basically Fellaini for Moyes. You know, and that's what they're gonna. That's basically what they're gonna do. Just for Sammy's comment, real quick. Okay, dude, it's been 2 games. All right, it's been 2 games. Okay, but things are looking good. Like, I'm not going to deny it. I said on Twitter the other day, I'm going to wait till the end of the 26th of September because it's the, Derby della Capitale, right? Roma against Lazio. Lazio do look good. And I just think that, obviously you got Maurizio Sarri there at Lazio now. And I think that if Roma can get a draw or, God forbid, a win, then I'm going to start kind of believing the hype. But it's great to have Zaniolo back. I touch wood every single time he plays that he doesn't get hurt. Pellegrini gets better and better and better. It scares the hell out of me that, he hasn't signed to a new deal yet, but I think he will. He's captain, of course. The fact that Roma are now properly playing a back 2 in terms of, a centre back, like about 2 of them, and Mancini and Ibanez, I think is good. So much dead wood is out of the club as well, which I think is brilliant. But like I said, so far we play. I can't even pronounce the team. Salterina, I think it's one of the promoted teams who obviously Roma beat. And then in the first game, obviously it was a little bit hairy here and there against Fiorentina. But for me, I think that if Roma can make top 4, that's got to be the goal, especially with how Juventus are going to have dropped off a little bit and Inter have fallen off a cliff in terms of their quality. I just think the top 4 would be a good haul. But again, you can never count out Napoli. Lazio with Sarri are always going to look good. Atalanta will always be there. So I'm not going to rule out like fifth or sixth. But yeah, man, I'll believe the hype maybe when Roma play Lazio. We'll see how we do.
David, we actually just touched on this before. I said that Edouard was going to be one of the best deals of like the window. The fact of how great he was for Celtic for all them seasons, and the fact that now he can bring it to the Premier League. We know of his quality. If he can do it at that level, I won't be surprised if there's another move for him for a top 6 team. He's honestly, to me, what I've seen from him, he's honestly at that level. But guys, I'm going to call the live short at this moment of time. David, yeah, Jack, Jack, this one is for you right here.
Rome derby this season is going to be epic. Hey, man, I hope so. Hopefully it's not going to be the Pedro revenge game, mainly because he'll probably be sat on the bench for Lazio.
Guys, we're going to call the live stream short right now. Again, we're going to try to get Jed on. And I'm even thinking of, guys, if we can, maybe try to get a few of you guys on. Maybe Sammy want to come on if he wants. David, if you just comment down in our other videos, just let us know if you're ever interested in coming on. We might try and do one for all you guys. But thank you all for watching. thank you for you just commenting and like showing love, and we appreciate every single one of them. If you haven't already, please hit that like and also that subscribe button. But guys, thanks for watching. We will be back with our next live soon. Thanks for watching. This is Box to Box Football, and we will see you next time.